We are live, everyone,
Yay!
with the one and only Darshan Kulkarni, and with our very special guest today, Monica Quitiva, Latinos in Clunker Research co-founder, Save Our Sites co-founder. We really need to sell rooms. What's the hotel? Omni. When do you need to book
Well,
it? Now.
it's actually now that you mentioned that for
Yeah.
all our attendees and sponsors, I would like to inform you that we actually negotiated an impressive or a very convenient price for the rooms at the same hotel.
The
The
Omni.
price is the price is only 219 per night.
4-star.
How
We tried to
yeah
get 5 because
how
Darshan
yeah
was coming. And I talked to the mayor of Oklahoma, and they just don't have it. So it's 4
no
stars.
219
Sorry, Darshan.
per night. So that's the
Completely
cost.
unacceptable.
That's the cost. And actually this cost is gonna be only available until February 15. So please ensure
Wow.
that you purchase that if you want to stay at the hotel, which is highly recommended because obviously everything is gonna happen there, right?
Everything.
Um,
And all the drinking
and
and
the price
stuff.
is really
So
good.
you don't
Yeah.
want to be driving back to, God knows where. Oklahoma, you don't even know where you're going to end up with all those tornadoes.
And everything is around it. I
Do
mean,
you
all the
deliver by
nice stuff.
tornado?
What's that?
Like maybe I can be delivered from one location to the other by tornado.
Yeah,
Is it
it's the
good?
new.
That will be exciting.
I
Tornado
believe the
Uber.
Democrats. I think the Democrats are pushing for that new mode of transportation soon.
Tornado Uber.
Tornado
I'm
riding.
all about that.
Yeah, it's clean energy.
Wow.
Okay, speaking of situations that are completely out of hand due to policy, which is very near and dear to my heart as a Californian, and you, Monica, by the way, Monica's intro is incomplete. She's a site owner as well, which is probably the first thing she should be introduced with. And we're actually here to talk about her site with Darshan, and then we're going to get into some. Apparently, GCP guidelines came out today, and it already got me pissed off reading it. But we'll calm down and focus on Monica's very real situation right now with the fires in LA. And you're in the
Wait, there are
middle
fires
of.
in LA?
Yeah.
When did this happen?
You're joking. Yeah.
I mean, it's everywhere in the news, right now. I don't think it's anything else but that.
Dan for a second was not sure if he should just be
Yeah.
surprised how ignorant I am or just
I was
angry.
I might need to take a shot of Hape right now and just relax. But yeah, so Monica,
Yeah,
this is the worst fires maybe of all time in California.
yeah. That's what actually that's what the news says, that there is nothing like this ever happening in California. We woke up today with a new one,
Yeah.
actually. So right now we have active, I
How is
believe.
UCLA's campus? I'm curious.
Very close to the whole everything.
Really?
Yeah.
My
It's right there.
niece is like literally I had to pick her up from the airport like 2 days ago because she was at UCLA.
So
So she's
UCLA is
studying
like on
upstairs.
one part of Sunset, and there was fires there. believe those ones are put out, but if
All
you
right.
go further
Right.
towards
Yeah,
Pacific
but no,
Palisades,
UCLA and the BA hospital, all the students from the UCLA, if I'm not wrong, were already
Yeah, she's already evacuated. She's
advised
upstairs.
to evacuate.
But my question
Um,
is, should I expect for her to be back next week, or is next week probably going to be virtual as well?
yeah, so
I
right
think
now
they'll
we
be
have
back.
4 fires active. The one that is closer to me is the Palisades fire. So
Because your site is right there in Santa
that's
Monica.
actually the biggest one. So that one has been only contained 17%. Can you believe that? Since last week, and only 17%. So that's the one that they have not been able to
Well, it's
control
kind of hard
really
to put out the
much.
fires when they take the water out of the hydrants. But that's another topic.
And in addition to that, the wind, right? Because we have,
Yeah.
unfortunately, the Santa Ana winds very active right now. And today, they kind of stopped a little bit, but then today came back full force.
So, what are your challenges
So,
now as a site owner, like in a disaster zone? What's happening?
so many things. First of all, we specialize in mental health. So some of the sponsors were concerned that this affects the patients and that obviously will affect things, right? So we have been speaking with the patients and assessing how they are feeling, how they are dealing with this, if they have been affected by it or not. And then in addition to that, because the area where we are located is still is still open, so it's not that we are in curfew or anything. However, we are right now like 3 miles away from all the area that is already either already evacuated, and so that's where we are right now. So in prevention, we're doing different things, right? We obviously taking care of the patients, and then in addition to that, whatever we have in paper, we might have to store it somewhere else just to be cautious about it.
And you are using, your site is using eSource in the form of eClin Pro, I believe.
Yeah, so but we still have some studies that we studied at the beginning without in paper, and
I
those
see.
studies is still active.
Are the
So
sponsors worried that that data is going to get burned, or what are they? Or did
they
they already talk to
haven't
you?
they haven't talked to me yet, but we're going to take precautions on it, and we're going to obviously notify and document everything.
So the one thing I would say is you probably, at this point, after COVID, after the fires, if you're going to Oklahoma after tornadoes, if you're going to Florida after floods, what you probably want to have is an acts of God policy. And that should probably be reflected both in your CTA negotiations. Like, what happens when you can't do something because there's a fire that might burn your entire site down? What happens if what happens to your medical devices? Is someone really going to go, like right now, Monica drove 3 miles away from a massive fire to go retrieve this documentation, but is the sponsor also expecting her to retrieve everything else? What is the limits of that? So I would consider having that reflected in your clinical trial agreement, and or having a policy that you refer to in your clinical trial agreement that says that these are
Oh, that's actually great for everybody, right? Like for example, in many areas where, basically anywhere, we don't know if anything is gonna happen. Let's say, for example, in California, that we have always the potential earthquake. If that happens, you're not gonna know. So what will happen in that case?
Depends on what your policy says. And you might say, my policy says that in these situations, this is what happens. And if you have a problem with this, let us know right now, because we may not be the right site for you.
You can add that to the policies, or you should add that to your SOPs, or in the
standard operating
contract.
procedure. So policy, procedure, whatever you want to call it.
And can that be, and like you say, that should be included in the contract negotiation?
It depends on how you want to set it up, right? So if I'm a site, I would say refer to all of my policies, and you figure out which policies apply to you and which ones you care about. If I'm a sponsor, I would say I want you to tell me which policies apply, because these are material issues that I need to worry about. And if I'm a CRO under ICH E3R3, is it E2R3 or
E6R3?
E6R3.
Yeah.
Thank you, Grok.
If that's where we are, then you need to have appropriate policies that write it all down. And you are going from a risk-based analysis. And you might say that using a risk-based quality by design process, you'll already have these policies and procedures online. You can share them as appropriate. So it all comes down to what you're doing and where you're taking it. And CROs
That's
now,
actually part of the, I plan to wait till the end, but the R3 revision, one of the emphasis, a strong emphasis on a quality management system,
exactly
focusing on risk management.
Exactly right, which is why I was saying that risk. When they say risk management, they're really talking about things like audit procedures. But this is a risk that really should be considered as well.
Mm-hmm.
And how will that be overseen? As a site owner, I would think about having my policies reflect this, because as insurance companies are finding out, the once in 1,000 years thing is happening every 5 years. So it's better to have that covered for yourself.
And it seems that it's going to happen more often everywhere.
Yeah.
So probably that's why they released that new GCP or addition or
It's not in the, I don't think
update.
it's in the GCP. This part is in like not
Okay,
the
ICH.
disaster. No, I know the disaster portion is not, but I think
Oh,
quality
okay.
is.
Yeah, quality is a huge part. We'll get into a little bit of it. I have like some bullet points that we could discuss.
Okay, well, Darshan,
But what are you doing?
then
Like,
I'm
how are
gonna
you
have
seeing
to.
patients? Are you seeing patients right now, or virtual, or?
So we're seeing patients, but let's say that we're still seeing them. It's just that we have to every day check on how the things are looking like.
Did you
Right.
have any patients affected by the fire, like where they had to evacuate?
So we have we have two patients that they actually we were going to start with them as screenings that were affected by the fires. They were evacuated, they returned, and now they have to evacuate again.
Yeah,
So
I guess I
and
would be
also,
concerned with if I were a sponsor with the IP, the investigational product, if a patient has it.
yes, but they are not yet in the studies, so they are
Gotcha.
not. But then
But
and
there's
then
another
also,
portion. In your
mhm.
investigation product has to be kept at a certain temperature, and with the fires being nearby, has that ambient temperature been changed? In which case, is your IP still good?
Yeah. So what we have temperature how do you say control at the clinic. So it's never it never if so it's like it's in between 20 to 25 Celsius. So if it's too cold, it will get a little warmer, and if it's too hot, it will get a little cooler. So that has not been a problem, thank God. um, but yeah, it's just that, I mean, a few days ago, I believe it was Friday, the air condition was bad, so we have to move some of the visits due to the air conditioning.
Oh, the
You know,
power,
the air
power outages.
conditions.
Yeah.
So outside the air was very unhealthy. Right now, it's not the best, but it's not that bad. So, but we're basically coming just to see the patients and then leave, because if we stay for too long, like the whole day or the whole period, we have been experiencing headaches and eye like burning eyes.
Yeah.
So, and like I say, it's not even that. I mean, if you see outside, you will not think that nothing is happening. Is really, it seems normal. The only thing that is completely different, that you know that something might be happening, is because there is no traffic, and that's basically it never happens in LA. The traffic is always bad, but right now the streets are not very busy. So yeah,
So wait, are you saying LA has no traffic right now?
where I am located, no. And I was actually, I drove from Orange County to LA, and it was just like a bliss. No
Like
traffic.
30 minutes, 20 minutes.
No traffic.
How
It
long does
was
it take you? And normally, how long does
48.
it take?
So when it's traffic, it's usually like 1 hour, 20 minutes, 1 hour and a half. Up to 2 hours, who knows, right? Depending on traffic and depending on the time that you're driving. But without traffic, it took me today like 48 minutes, 49 minutes drive. It's considerably lower. Yeah. And I mean, and seeing the streets is not, it's not as busy. So it's kind of, I mean, that's the only silver lining.
So maybe every site needs a disaster plan. I know
Mhm.
we have one in our SOP, but I mean in Yuma you don't really have to use it so far for anything, thank God. But like flood, fire, things like this, damage. With eSource, you're kind of protected like in many ways that you weren't in the past. eReg, but there's still things like investigational product, there's still equipment of the sponsor. So, there still are valuable things, but in the past it was like your documents would burn or flood. Now you don't have that because of Creo or eClin Pro or whomever you use. You at least know you have that stored somewhere in a FDA compliant cloud, if there is such a thing.
Yeah, by the way, this is no legal advice. We're just talking.
Oh yeah, by the way, there's Sean.
Monica, see, that is why I enjoy having Monica Sativa up there.
She's a professional.
Exactly, she's a professional.
Did you know Monica used to be a news anchor in Australia?
Really?
Right?
What
Or was that
were you a news
Colombia?
anchor for?
No, I actually did a lot of PR in
Reportera.
Australia,
Reportera.
and I
PR or
was
news anchoring?
no. I was a PR. So, but the thing
my
is,
bad.
what it was with musicians. So we used to do like all the tours with concerts and interviews, and I was the main anchor for that.
I got you. Monica's
Wow.
well trained in media, right? Not like me, who just turns on a
Oh
camera.
yes, whatever. You have much more experience now
Nah,
than anybody.
but this is not legal advice for Darshan. Like very important, and also not medical advice. He's a pharmacist as well,
Is
and also
Dan
he's
giving
a
legal advice
judo.
though?
I don't give legal advice. I give opinions that sometimes cross over into the legal realm,
Oh,
but they're just opinions. They're as good as nothing. Like they're virtually useless.
Yeah, I mean, we're just sharing experiences and knowledge, but it's at the end of the day, it's people's responsibilities, right?
Yes.
To
I
make
have a
sure that
question.
they're doing it correctly. But if you actually want legal advice, then you can always reach
You gotta
out.
better call
And
Darshan.
There you go.
yes,
There you go. I have an important question though, because I'm seeing Save Our Sites, and I'm going to be there. Edie's going to be there. We're going to be talking legal.
Yes,
I don't
sir.
even know what talk I'm giving.
You're
But,
on the FDA preparing for a 483. How to avoid a 483.
How to avoid a 483. Okay. So if you want to hear more about that, you need to come to Save Our Sites. And if we're going
The
to talk
short
about
answer is you can't avoid a 483 because Darshan will scare you shitless.
that's how you avoid the 483.
That's right.
exactly.
But you said it's March 2025. What dates in March?
So it's
13
gonna
to
be
15.
from the 13th to the 15th.
Okay.
So it's basically the actually the 13 and the 14, the 13 and the 14.
So do you need
And
to
then
be
the
there for all
15th.
3 days, or do you need?
No. Like so I'm showing up the 13th in the evening. We have a pre-party. Then the 14th is the day, and then the 15th is a half day.
Okay. And when you go to the site, let's be honest, a lot of us are going to be at Save Our Sites because we want to hang out with the Monica Kutiva and with the Dan Spera.
Absolutely. And Darshan Kulkarni.
Exactly. So, but for those people who are also new to Oklahoma City, like I am, where does one go? Good food.
Wow.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
We need Brad. I've never
Okay.
been in my
No.
life.
Actually, we did our due diligence. If you go to Save Our Sites website, you're gonna find something in
Maria, we got
there.
you covered. We got you covered on this. Portion.
Exactly.
Yeah, Maria, this
Exactly.
is not
So
advice
it
at
has
all.
all the
But you covered.
list.
Okay, so what's the list? What are you recommending? What is
Okay,
Oklahoman food?
okay.
Whatever Brad
Well,
eats, it'll grow
I
you.
know.
Okay, we're gonna
Anything
need
that's beer
Brad to
friendly.
talk about that. Yeah. So in the website we have Explore Oklahoma City, right? So it says what to see in Oklahoma. So we have, and
Mickey
everything is
Mantle's restaurant. That's what
everything
I'm
is
saying.
everything is around. By the way, I was very impressed by the restaurants and everything there when I was searching. I have never been there, but I was searching, and then I saw that near I don't know if it's a canal of a river, many restaurants facing that, and it looks so beautiful. They have like a outdoors restaurants and things like that,
Yeah.
and it's very
It
beautiful.
looks like the Riverwalk in San Antonio, but smaller, is what I gathered.
Yeah, so they have the Oklahoma City National Memorial Museum, the Oklahoma City Zoo. Everything is near where we are located.
There's the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum. I don't know what that means, but that sounds cool.
Then the Science Museum of Oklahoma, the Myriad Botanical Gardens, The Brick Town. That's the one, actually, the one that is on the canal, and you can actually take a
You can
little
cruise the
boat.
Oklahoma River.
Exactly.
Maria says
Exactly.
casino.
Casinos.
Oh, casinos.
I'm gonna put it all on
Mm,
one hand, and that's it.
See, I'm
Uh,
loving this. Look at this. We've got Helen coming in with
Helen
Mickey
with the
Mantle's
steak.
restaurant.
Rocky Mountain oysters, fried catfish, Mickey Mantle's restaurant.
Wow. All my favorite food.
Wait, Rocky Mountain oysters, isn't that balls?
Helen, explain yourself here. But yeah, not sure what that
I think
is.
that's what it is.
Fried catfish. I can't wait to try that.
Or about
Fried
salsa
catfish?
girl,
I don't know. I thought
Interesting.
catfish was good, but the fried, I can't. I'm on Manjaro, and I just don't like the same foods anymore. Fried foods don't do it
that's
for me
gonna
anymore.
kill you. That's gonna hurt your guts really bad, man.
Oh, I love that shit. Why is
I
it hurting
know.
my guts?
I think the GLPs and the fatty foods, the greasy foods, have they don't mix well.
Yeah, but they don't go into your gut at all.
No, but it's just a slang. Like you're gonna be on
Oh.
the shitter all day.
Okay,
Oh,
I
yeah,
haven't
Maria goes-
finished.
Bill
have-
testicles,
Helen said it's Bill's testicles. I don't know what Bill did.
balls from bulls. This podcast took a turn. His
Wow.
podcast really went left.
Wow. Maria, I remember your email. I hope you already got reach out. Otherwise, send me another email and I will make sure, okay?
We were gonna talk about the GCP revisions, but bull testicles are more interesting
Why are they interesting, Dan? Never seen a bull's
Yeah.
testicles?
because
Yeah,
they're
me-
called the Rocky Mountain oysters.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No, how am I supposed to know that? I'm from California and Arizona.
I'm from
now. We don't-
Philadelphia. Why would I know about Rocky Mountain oysters? And yet here I am.
Hey, you don't even know who the 76ers are, and you're from.
Okay,
That's
and
fair. I gotta give
near
you
the
that.
same, near the hotel is also the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame.
So which
They have one player in it.
Which the Caesartel Park. That looks actually very amazing.
They probably have
And the
Russell Westbrook.
Oklahoma
wait. Hold on.
City
Helen
Museum
pulled
of
up something
Art.
I've never heard of before. Now I want that. Lamb
Lamb.
fries.
Lamb fries.
What?
Helen,
What is
you gotta
that?
be the unofficial SOS tour guide when we go. Are you coming?
Yes.
It'd be hilarious. if
Helen, you better be coming.
How
because you
awesome
know-
if Helen
you
goes,
know a lot.
I've never been to Oklahoma City. I just Google really well.
I got it all from Grok. Well,
I'm actually
interesting.
very excited about going.
Now
to
we're not
Oklahoma
actually gonna have
because
time for any of that though.
I'm gonna go
Bull
probably one
testicles?
day before, so I can check it out around, and I want to go and check Brad's site
Je-
too.
Look at what Jesselyn's saying. This is how you get.
Jeslyn, shout out to CRC and CRA
Yay.
Academies and all kinds of other stuff.
Exactly, Jesselyn. This is the podcast I didn't know I needed. Me too.
Helen
Especially
is
talking
one
with
half
these two
Okie.
guys.
Is that the half she hides or is that the half she
No,
shows?
I am half.
I'm
Okie.
I don't know.
So
That's
she's
a good
half
question.
from Oklahoma. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm wondering, can we have an event where everyone wears a beard in honor of Brad?
I will love that.
Brad's beard
I
game was
will
insane.
love that. The
Like
beard
I think
everyone
it's
one.
a lot of. I think it's a lot of
And he
bull
picks
balls.
the winner. Who's got the best beard?
He must eat a lot of bull's balls for that beard to grow that thick. I'm sure that's the secret. I think we found it out. Bull balls is the secret to Brad's beard growth.
I don't know. Probably.
Now you
don't
know
maybe-
every time you see a full beard, what's hiding behind the beard.
Yeah, they might be half Okie. You don't know.
Okay.
Wow. This is the pot I didn't know I needed either. Shout out to Jesselyn.
I will say this: Jesselyn's lipstick game is on point, but then again, so is Monica's. Look at that.
I mean, yeah, it is absolutely on point. This is amazing.
What's your lipstick game, Dan? Where's the feminine half that you said you had?
I have it in the spiritual side of me.
In the
you know,
spiritual
it's in
side.
my third eye. My third eye. It's all feminine. It's all female energy. Intuition. That's female.
I'm pretty
female
sure.
energy.
Isn't that like a character from Doctor Who? Like a hand comes out of your forehead or something?
Doctor Who.
You don't know what that is, do you?
Doctor.
You're
Strange.
actually one of the cool people who knew. Like I'm one of the geeks.
I know
so-
Doctor Strange.
No, Doctor Who. That's a whole other British character.
Is he a good PI?
No, he's Dr. Who MD.
Yeah. Do you guys want to talk this GCP? Listen. Just like this is the pod Jesselyn didn't know she needed. This was the revision, so we didn't know we needed.
No,
But we got them.
yeah, sure we did.
Came
We
out
have
of
'em.
nowhere. They came out of nowhere too. Like I just opened LinkedIn today, and I'm like, oh, as you know, and I'm like, well, actually, I didn't know. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, we
here's
have
a
gone
legal
through so
question.
many things.
Here's a
sir.
legal question that's not legal advice, but I would still
sir.
use your answer in creative ways.
Okay.
So, when a new revision comes out,
Uh-huh.
where does the training? We get our training from, like, do the platforms refresh, or like, do you just self-train on it and document it, or what? Like, are you supposed to even do it, or what?
Or is the sponsor responsibility to make sure that everybody is trained on it?
Well, first of all, it is the PI's responsibility to make sure everyone on the site is completely trained. It's also the sponsor's responsibility that everyone who's affected is appropriately trained. But
The Doctor Who, we got to ask him what's going on.
well, you must ask Helen which Doctor Who, because there are 15 I believe, so far.
I have no clue what this is, but I'm Googling it.
But anyway, so I think it comes down to who's responsible. Remember, PI's responsibilities, for example, include GCP compliance, but
Yeah.
sponsors' responsibilities also include GCP compliance. So it's not it's not a or, it's an and.
So it's everybody's responsibility,
Right.
basically.
So let's say these new guidelines came out
Yeah.
today because
That's
they
when you
did.
hire me, an 80, to come help you.
Okay, but check this out. So the release of the guidelines came out today.
Yeah.
We're gonna go through 1, 2, 3, 4 bullet points because those are like the most important.
Now that's just what Grok told you. That doesn't make it four bullet points.
4 bullet points. It looks like it's the most like Grok picked out the meatiest
I don't trust
part.
it. This is the problem with
training.
AI. You now believe Grok more than actually reading the thing yourself.
I'm gonna read it at some point, but I'm not gonna read it today.
I'm
But,
gonna get trained on it.
but how do you get trained on it? Do you just write a
So,
note that you're trained on it?
actually, no.
You read
yeah,
it. You need to have regular trainings overall. Anyways, you shouldn't just have annual trainings. Maybe quarterly, maybe monthly. Maybe talking
Okay.
about what your
All right. Let me email this
findings
to
were.
Katie. Okay.
Yeah, there needs to be a cadence to it.
I'm gonna
in
send
my
this to Katie.
in my case, my team is getting trained with a video that one of the sponsors.
I
sent
recommend,
us.
Monica, that the training pause while you save your life for saving your site.
Yeah.
Save our site in a
That's
real
true.
sense. Monica's out there with
Yes, actually, I'm
water.
saving my site. Yes. Now that that we're talking about this, if it was released today, how long do you have?
There's no official thing, and the truth is,
to
you
get
probably
trained.
comply with a lot of it already.
Right.
But it's more now. This is the new level set. There should be sources out there, Helen. There should be sources out there to become GCP certified. Well, there's no such thing as certified, first of all. But you can be GCP compliant. Edie and I
confirm that you actually did the training.
Correct.
Sending this to our lead CRC so that she can.
I feel like every time I come on, Dan's like, I'm sending this to someone
give
else.
up more work.
Someone else
Katie's getting
handle
an
this.
email right now. Yeah.
This needs to be managed.
Yeah, you guys, here's some risk management for you. But no, yeah, that's a good idea. She's gonna read it, and then we're going to
Journal
implement.
Club.
But there are 4 bullet points that Grok picked out that I think are.
I think those are just. I have others as well. I mean, you want to have appropriate delegation. You want to have appropriate roles and responsibilities. There's a whole section on data integrity. A whole section on clinical trial record keeping. There's so much more.
But wasn't that in the last one too? Like, I feel like this is.
And that's what I mean. They're just sort of upping the ante each time. So they're saying you need to. This is what the new expectations look like. And the next version, I'd expect some version of AI to be included in there. What version after that? Maybe they talk a little bit. There's more about clinical trial transparency, for example. How do you give the results back to patients? Which is going to fall primarily. And they say things like, "Oh, you need to give the results back to patients." The truth is, who's the you? Because sponsors have no ability to contact the patients. So what does that process look like? Which means it's going to fall on the sites. Okay, are you then going to charge for giving results back to the patients? How do you inform them? What do you give?
We're going to charge the.
He's like, yes, very much so. I will make money on this.
Well, I mean, some out there are making the sites appear like victims, which I disagree with. Sites are not victims. Is that Apple behind you part of your professorship? Like, did a student give you this as a gift?
I actually got it in New Delhi.
Okay. I thought someone gave you an Apple because you're an adjunct professor.
I'm adjunct professor, not even a full professor.
So, do you want to hear some of these bullet points that Grok picked out?
Yes, you tell us what Grok has said.
Because I emailed Katie the 86 pages, so she's gonna go through it.
I'm gonna do the training and tell you guys what it is about.
But what
in a
if you
couple
find
of
the link?
weeks.
Send it to me. Because where are you
How
gonna
about
do
this?
the training?
How about this? Why don't we, Dan, mark it and do a GCP R3 E6 R3
Well, you're speaking
live
Monica's
podcast?
language. You're speaking Monica's, and
I'm
then
not saying that you'll be GCP certified.
we can
I'm
mass
not saying I'm
train
going to send you
everyone.
a certificate. I'm just saying you'll at least understand some of the moving parts that we're
Well,
going to do.
Helen says there should be sources out there to become GCP
Yes.
certified, and then they send you a certificate.
What does the woman represent in that certificate?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
There's
she
two
doesn't.
sources.
What we will show you is that if you come to the Dan Fair podcast, also known as the Clinical Trial Guru, you will then know what GCP training is.
And
You will then
entertain you in the
know.
process. You ever
Exactly.
get a traffic violation and they make you go to traffic school?
Exactly.
So they have like these cool ones where like a clown is in the corner juggling. So like you'll be like entertained while you're going through, nonsense. Like this is real legit stuff.
And if you're interested, we will also tell you more about Rocky Mountain oysters.
That's right. So we'll entertain
In
you.
Oklahoma City.
In Oklahoma City, exactly
And
right.
you know what's the beauty of Oklahoma City? A part of everything that you're gonna see
Yes,
there.
Brad's
That
beard.
you're gonna get the chance to talk
Brad's
real
beard's in the
life
museum.
with this guy up there. And this other
dude.
guy up there.
And her.
Real life, both of them.
Okay. Quality management system,
Yes.
risk-based approach,
Si,
participant centricity,
Oui.
and data reliability. These are the things
Uh-huh.
Grok picked out. I specifically asked Grok, find in the new revisions what are the biggest changes from the previous version. This is what it boom, 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 boom. These 4 things.
Here's the question: why do you think Grok is right?
I don't. But it
And
was
that's
like
the problem.
5
Unvalidated
seconds
system, Dan, and that would be a violation of GCP.
for a pod. It's just a podcast.
Oh.
Katie's doing the actual training tomorrow. This is in her inbox already. Clock is already ticking for
24
Katie.
hours. That's all Katie gets.
That's what you got to go through it. You got to read, see what's going on. Honestly, like I actually have it in front of me, the real PDF, and it is 86 pages. No, 79 pages.
So that's the actual document.
Yeah, I have it in front of me. A lot of it's
Mm.
tables and stuff, but non-clinical studies. It talks about non-clinical studies, which Grok actually mentioned too. And then it talks about public consultation. So the draft versions of these guidelines have undergone public consultation, suggesting that the final document reflects feedback from various stakeholders to ensure it meets the needs of the global research community. So probably patients were involved in this one, because participant centricity is a big part of it.
It is.
And this is what Grok says. The guidelines stress the importance of considering participant needs and preferences in trial design, conduct, and reporting, enhancing transparency and participant engagement. I did a video on this.
You want to share my screen for a second, Dan?
Yes. And it gave me a link to LinkedIn.
I have the link that
Helen
you are
Darshan was
sharing.
confused why you put these two
woman.
emojis here.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I asked it for comparison between E6R2 and E6R3.
What do we got? It's 4.0, so we're comparing Grok versus 4.0. Let's go. Let's see.
So focus on sponsors, investigators, and IRBs. Expands to include more clinical trial designs, including decentralized trials and adaptive trials.
So
I want to be clear.
R3.
This has not been vetted, so you cannot necessarily trust it. But this is what it gives you right now.
Just to have an idea.
For educational purposes only.
For entertainment. It's like the traffic school. We're like the clowns juggling in the corner.
Exactly. Emphasize risk-based quality management, including risk identification, control, and review. expands quality risk management to include more dynamic and ongoing risk management practices. Technology, and it talks about limited references to electronic data and systems validation, more robust. No mention of decentralized. We're now doing DCTs. Stakeholder responsibilities really identifies what each of these are, but now it includes third-party vendors, data managers,
You
and
vendors ain't getting off the hook anymore.
Did you hear about the McKinsey consultant?
I heard a lot of bad things about them, but no. What
McKinsey
specific?
landed up paying $650 million because of the consulting they gave in the opioid crisis to Purdue. Wow. And one of the partners is going to jail, I believe.
I mean, McKinsey's days are numbered, wouldn't you say?
No, not at all. In fact, I think McKinsey just opened up its own law firm.
Okay, so they'll like clear up all the mess they created with a law
firm. Is it? No, hold on. One of the law?
I feel like if AI does anything, it gets rid of these McKinsey types. Because you can go send your GPU to Reason now, right? It'll come back a week later with like a 50-page report.
KPMG opened up a law firm. There we go.
Okay. I mean, if anything, I think these consultants their days are numbered.
I think people are thinking, like, that's what I wonder as well, right? People are going to go, well, why do I need a lawyer if I have a consultant?
But a lawyer is different because a lawyer is specifically trained to keep you compliant. He or she can actually get you through legal issues. A consultant is just going to sit there and write your reports.
Totally different story.
No, but I think the question is, are they going to, whether it's a consultant, whether it's a lawyer, whether it's something else, the fact is, in the end, can they give you information you can depend on? Now, for someone like you, Dan, or someone like you, Monica, who already knows what the moving parts are, you'll be able to go, you know what, this makes sense. That the fact that they're moving towards decentralized studies, that makes sense.
Right.
But someone who doesn't know, that might be harder. So I think the jobs of consultants is going to change in a world of AI.
One of these bullet points. So actually, Grok linked to somebody's LinkedIn article, but it's old. It's from May 2023. It was from the last one.
That's how you know Grok is wrong, because then Grok is actually citing to information that couldn't actually answer the question.
No, because it said participant centricity, which wasn't completed fully in the last one. So it is citing it wasn't completed. Okay. And this person's argument was that it needs to be. But this is the one I want to focus on, participant centricity. Because I actually shot a video, my 100th episode with Daniel, by the way. Shout out to Daniel Rodriguez. 100 like professionally made podcast.
Okay.
And in it, I talk about just because technology can do something doesn't mean it's ultimately good for the patient.
Agreed.
And the way a lot of these trials are designed, you guys can attest, well, Monica for sure, the more capability we have to track. Oh, now we got wearables. Make them wear this watch. Now we got eCOA, so let's tell them to bring their phone to the office and put this app on it, log them in, and then tell them when they go home every 3 times a day they got to do this, this, and this. Right. And by the way, they don't get paid for that, but just tell them. Right. And if they're less than 90% compliant, kick them out. And all this patient burden, it's called patient burden. When we're actually talking about patient centricity, it's complete hypocrisy. Not to mention, if we take this to the extreme, like patients don't necessarily like this stuff. Just because you can track and collect data doesn't mean you should. Remember in 2012, 13, everyone was talking about IP compliance. Patients, how do we know they're compliant? Well, somebody came out with let's put an RFID chip in the pills. Boom, they're going to swallow it. Patients revolted. They're like, I'm never joining your trial with this thing in it. I'm never going to get this out of my body. So just because the technology is there to make it so that you can track, yeah, we're 100% compliant. This is patient safety. This is patient centricity. Well, the patient's going to tell you to go fuck off because I'm not doing that study.
Yeah, and then what is the line of actually violating also people's privacy, because you don't know if that is going to be tracked until when.
Not to mention, how do we know that RFID chip works? Exactly. Where's the clinical trial on that on its own? They were just trying to throw that in there.
I didn't know. There are things that seems to me not correct.
Hey, but Monica, it's all in the name of patient safety. It's for their own good. They don't know any better. So we have to track them because this is participant centricity. That's the guise they put it in. So now the FDA is coming out and saying, well, it sounds like they actually had patients help with these guidelines, which is good. I really hope it's a step in the right direction for participant centricity and not just a green light to do more patient burden. Because these e-diaries are out of control, completely out of control. We have patients saying they want to quit studies all the time because of the diaries. I can't log in 3 times a day. I got a life.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, I know. Sorry. The sponsor wants you to do this because some CRO wined and dined them that,
And
this is a
sometimes
good thing.
they are even like, know what to say about that.
This is exactly what an IRB should be looking at. Is this necessary? Is this reasonable?
Yeah,
What
but
is
the
the-
IRBs are compromised, Darshan.
I know. There's a whole discussion about that
They
I
freaking
know.
got their hands out the whole way. Pay us, pay it. They're the new McKinsey. You don't need a McKinsey. You got the. I'm not gonna name them because I got an attorney here, guys. Try me.
Paying the bills then? Because I'm happy to be tried.
Somebody will pay the bill. Like, this stuff really pisses me off,
I know.
and
I
no
know.
one ever pushes back,
And that's the
saying,
problem.
you know what, it's too much for patients. Like,
Correct.
no, like I remember when that RFID thing came out, people were celebrating it, and I was on Twitter telling people, I'm not going to mention who they are, this is a bad idea. Like,
Yeah.
I see the patient every day. If I bring this up, first of all, they're schizophrenic. I was doing schizophrenia studies.
How are you?
They're already paranoid. I'm not schizophrenic. I'm paranoid if I'm going to swallow this shit. Like, can't even blame them.
Imagine what RFK Jr. would say to that today.
RFK. Listen, I actually think he might be on the side of reason in this one.
Just on this one?
On this grander macro issue of participant centricity, I think he's participant centric.
I don't know enough about his position on participant centric. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. So I don't know.
But here's the problem with this thing. The contrarians who are also making money off of it would say, well, we do need more compliance because ultimately it benefits society.
Mm-hmm.
But they're willing to sacrifice the individual for the greater good while they've got money, while they're making money the whole way through. And I don't agree with that premise of, unless it's voluntary sacrifice, I don't think government should force that upon people.
Wait, what is the government? You mean the vaccine part? Wait, do we switch
Not
to
the vaccine. Let's not get into that.
That's why I was like, what do you mean by government here?
I just mean this ideology that you don't know any better.
Okay.
Like this same ideology that created the RFID chip and thought it was actually good, because whoever invented that's technically smart.
Well,
But
they
whoever
invented
said
RFID for a completely different reason.
right, but whoever,
Inventory management. Yeah.
but the
I mean,
idea of
they
putting
applied
it
it-
in the
Okay,
pill
got it.
and then it lasting in your stomach, all that, like that's engineering feats. That's one thing.
Yeah.
But when you put the morality into it, it's like you guys, you can't be trusted, so we're gonna track you now, and it's for your own good. So you're gonna shut up and take.
And imagine. I mean, and unless I mean, and on top of that, we don't know what's the side effects of that.
Yeah.
But they don't care. It's just good data.
No.
We know it's 100% compliant now, and it's gonna benefit society. So Monica,
Here's
you're
the funny
selfish.
part.
You're selfish for saying no, Monica. It's gonna benefit society. Take your pill, Monica. That's what they're
I'm
saying.
doing it well, if I'm voluntarily participating in a study, that should be also explaining the ICF, right? Completely
it
transparent.
should, and this is why it
completely
backfired, and this is
transparent.
why it didn't take off,
Exactly.
because patients were like, no, they got to that part and they're like, hold on a second, you're just gonna gloss over this part? Well, yeah, but it's for your safety.
Exactly. Those
Well,
kind of things also makes me think. I mean, we already as an industry, we have that reputation, right? Like everybody always blames pharmaceuticals and research and all of that. So with things like that, we're not helping the industry at all. in that regards, because people will be still thinking, I'm a guinea pig. I don't want to be part of that.
Helen, what you just said is not actually always right. So in some cases, you're right.
Well, Helen said, not that I agree with chipping IP, but if you swallow the pill, it's going to come out the other end. That's for the podcast people that can't see.
Oh, sorry. Oh, thank you. But essentially, it depends on what it is, because if you swallow the pill at some point, if it's gelatin, is going to dissolve, and it may not come out the other end because the rest of it. It depends on what she means by the word 8. I assume she meant the pill. If she means the RFID, it probably will. But I don't know what she meant by that.
But like the whole point is like, why risk it in the first place? Like the risk benefit of a drug or a therapeutic is one we can understand. That's a pill, pun intended. That's a pill we will swallow. But when it comes to just something like tracking, it's nothing to do with therapeutic. This is letting my overlords know that I'm compliant.
Okay, Helen clarified, but yeah,
that's not an appropriate risk benefit ratio, in my opinion. Just to let somebody in the ivory tower know that I'm compliant with it.
But here's my question for you: what is the value of a clinical trial if you don't know that the pill was taken? I'm just playing a devil's advocate right now.
It's obviously less valuable than if you did. I agree.
So if that's
but then
true,
do you call it patient-centric at that point?
I mean, the goal of the trial still has to be met, right? Which is patient takes the pill.
Right. But also the goal is no unnecessary risk to the patient.
But the question is there a risk?
I don't know. I mean, where's the studies on it?
There are certain things at some point. I'm playing devil's advocate. I actually agree with the
I know.
But I would argue that the risk is minimal at best. And that they would consider the minimal risk to be enough to justify taking the pill. But now I think that it's not patient-centric to your point. Yeah. But I wonder, it started off, one of the biggest problems in pharma, just so everyone knows, actually is the last comment that Helen made.
But we boot non-compliant patients. But you never know for a fact because we take them at their word. Correct. If you're supposed to bring 20 pills back and you brought back 21. Mm-hmm. Hey, I sit down with the patient. At one point, you missed the dose, but it's okay. Unless my math is wrong, let me do it again. No, it looks like, And then we're supposed to document that we re-educated them, blah, blah, blah. So next time the patient could say, I did the math wrong. I'm just going to throw out this other one too before I come in.
That's why the RFID pill would tell you if you're taking it or not.
Right.
Now, the argument to that is that's all well and good. But I'm still not going to take it, and I'm not sure I trust pharma companies or anyone else to have my data. I don't want Facebook to have my data, and they don't even have my information.
Yeah, I think. I mean, many things in research are based on trust. It's between the professionals that work on this, but how a patient is going to trust the pharmaceutical if we haven't built that trust?
I think I agree with you that it's based on trust, but I think it's more than that, for me at least. It's based on the idea that I know you can't do anything with something. So what could you do if you have my anonymized data? Not much. But the moment you know that Darshan Kulkarni left his house at this time and went there and then went there, and you establish a pattern, what it means is I could be kidnapped, I could be held up, whatever it is. It's more, if you don't know who it is and it's just someone traveling, that has less value, less harm to me. And I think that, to me, is what decides.
Okay, now that you mentioned that, I think if the ICF was more clear or transparent on that, or more protective of the actual patients, maybe more people will agree.
Exactly.
However, the ICF in the HIPAA part is very vague.
Well, ICF can't. Technically, HIPAA shouldn't be covered by ICF at all.
Okay, well, the HIPAA part that we have to include in the ICF, that part is leaving the patient basically unprotected up to a certain point. Because if the data goes out of their hands, then everybody has access to that data. And that includes the patient's medical records. I actually experienced that with a patient, that the patient was part of the study. And then when the patient had to reconsent, he called me and said, I don't want to keep participating.
Yeah.
This HIPAA is saying that my information could be shared with everybody if the sponsor, if somebody, I don't know, after somebody sees it, I don't even know how to explain it, but it's like after certain point, they protect it up to certain point, but then after that,
Correct.
if the data is released, it's not their fault. So
Right.
basically, washing their hands.
So I did a podcast with someone not that long ago, and I said what we really need to reach a point of, and we as a society aren't ready for this conversation, but we really need to go look. At some point, all of our data is already out there. We can't help it. My data has been compromised beyond. I mean, on a near weekly basis, I get your information is now on the dark web. It's like, yeah, I know it's happened like 19 times already. The first time I got scared. The second time I got scared. Now I'm just going, it's happened. So all the stuff we do around HIPAA, all the stuff we do around privacy, can we move away from you need to tell people that your privacy is compromised? I already know it's compromised. What are we going to do now that it's compromised? And no one wants to have that conversation.
Yeah, and that's true patient centricity, right?
Yeah,
Like that-
and if you, yeah, no, totally agree, Dan. Sorry for
No,
continue.
I'm just. This is why this topic pisses me off
Yeah,
quite a bit. There's a lot of hypocrisy in this space, but it looks like from what I'm reading now, the new guidelines advocate for involving participants or patient representatives early in the design process of the study. This ensures that protocols are more aligned with participants that can realistically manage or prefer in terms of visit schedules, treatments, and data collection methods. So that alone shows me that the other stuff kind of backfired, and now they're going back to, well, let's go back to first principles.
Mhm.
This data is secondary to the patients wanting to be in it. If they don't want to be in it, there's no point in getting all the data you want, and the capabilities of getting the data is there, but it's do the patients want to give you all that data? So it looks like it's a step in the right direction. I
yeah,
haven't read it. I've
Mhm.
just read some lines.
Well,
Yeah,
whose job is
Dan-
it to read it, then?
Katie Welch
Katie.
leads the CRC Yuma clinical
Yay!
trial. Trained
You
by
know
Monica.
that-
She was trained by Monica.
She was already trained by Monica?
She was trained by Monica, not on this GCP.
Oh,
no.
yeah.
as a clinical research coordinator.
Oh, okay, got
Not
it.
that fast. Oh, you
I
get
was like,
some direct
damn.
ayahuasca, maybe.
Yeah, wow. Dan and Darshan. So when the FDA released the diversity
Yeah.
guidelines, we actually, as a Latinos in clinical research, replied to them because they say that if anybody had any
Yeah,
input
comments.
or whatever, we did. And part of that was specifically that
Did they reply?
patients and to include the patients on early stages on the protocol, so that way it's true
Wow.
or to stick to the patient
So we
reality,
can say
right?
Latinos in research directly influenced this latest
Well,
revision.
I don't know, but it looks
It looks
beautiful
like
to
it to
see the
me.
results.
It looks like it to me. Take the
we
credit for it.
did submit that. We did submit that because
Just make a humble
and-
brag LinkedIn post and just be like everyone else.
We changed lives.
we change.
I'm humble and honored and beyond. Wait, hold on. I'm beyond humbled that my not so humble request of the FDA was taken into consideration, and they affected policy because of our
How
humble.
awesome would it be
Maybe who knows?
if she says that we have now decided to negotiate with the Latinos in clinical research to help us guide our next policy development around diversity in
Oh
clinical
no, I don't want that smoke.
We actually now, after that happened, we have been receiving more. I mean, we reach out more and more from pharmaceutical companies
Yep.
seeking that assistance.
You should
After
see
all
the ones
these
that came to
years,
SOS meetup.
finally,
Can we mention who came to SOS meetup? The one in San Diego? Can we mention that sponsor?
no, sure,
Oh,
we can.
I'm not going to.
Big sponsor.
We had a huge
Huge-
sponsor there at the
Huge
meetup
sponsor.
for this exact topic. And we have a couple sponsors lined up. Takeda is one
Yeah.
coming to SOS, and we're working on another one. And these girls
Yeah.
from LICR, Monica, Ashley, and Judy, they're passionate about this stuff, like submitting that thing to the FDA. I didn't even know they did that.
Yeah, we have been invited also to be part of boards. So that's also,
Oh.
it looks like
It's all
it's
you
now
guys.
finally happening, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not because we just because we're Latinos, right? It's because we have experience with the Latino community. We
Se habla
understand,
español?
obviously. Se
See?
habla español.
Claro que
What about
sí.
Portuguese? What about Portuguese?
Probably Monica.
I will understand it, definitely.
Yeah.
Ah. Obrigado.
Obrigado. So, yeah.
My biggest gripe, and I'm glad it looks like it's taking a turn away from this, is this whole move, and I'm glad maybe this marks the end of this. It sounds like it. The patient centricity virtue signal was giving a green light to vendors and CROs. Hey, under this brand, we can throw wearables on them, put 2 on their wrist, give them an ankle bracelet, just put everything you can, get these data.
2 on the wrist, 1 on the fist.
Yeah, that's patient centricity, and now they're like, wait a minute, patients are actually revolting against this. Like, this is, who wants this? At the end of the day, you're all a patient. Look what Helen said in this thing. Not that I agree. Wait, what did she say? When they fall below the protocol defined compliance is when we boot, but agreed, I wouldn't participate in a trial with a chipped IP. I don't know too many people that actually would.
Yeah, no. I mean, I love research. I have participated in one study, and when I had a kidney stone, I was willing to participate in a study. It just didn't happen. But if I was offered a cheap pill, I will 100% say no.
Well, yeah, and most people would too. So I started angry, but now that I read it with the assistance of my AI, it
Grok.
looks, provided it's correct and not hallucinating,
Exactly.
then yeah, I like the change. I like the way this is going.
So,
Yeah,
so
I mean, unless that pill was going to save my life forever, that will be the only way.
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I do need to jump because unlike you guys, I am on the East Coast, and everyone's going, it's time to eat. So,
Sean, it's time to eat, man. Go. Thank you so much for being on, and we'll wrap up.
obrigado.
Thank you. Oh,
Don't
before
worry,
we
guys, because I'm
finish. Oh,
see, that was
shukran.
Japanese. That was
Shukran.
Japanese. Shukran. Shukriya. And many
Before
others.
we leave, I want to mention something. If you are a sponsor and you want to have that connection directly with the sites, especially with sites located in diverse areas, you should be going to SOS Save Our Sites Conference. If you are a site and want to get a lot of insights, if you want to learn a lot of new things, if you want to take your business to the next level, you should be going to Save Our Sites Conference.
I just referred a site to come to the conference this time, so I'm excited.
Exactly. If you want to meet in person these 2 people up here, please go to Save Our Sites Conference.
We're going to have a meet and greet. At the meet and greet, you will meet and greet Dan.
Let's do it.
He's
and
going to
you meet and greet Darshan.
Exactly.
That's right.
I'll be at the next booth.
That'll be the more interesting one. Thank you, everybody. Go follow everybody. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Darshan, Monica, thank you guys so much. Bye-bye.